You're listening to Blockchain Marketing Insights with your host, Yasha Harari.
Hey everybody, what's up? Just a quick update for today. If you look around what's happening, especially at things like the World Blockchain Conference happening in Las Vegas right now, and all the news happening around various institutional banks and bankers, and things Vitalik is saying about Ethereum 2.0 coming out sooner than people might expect. And all the different things that promises to do. It's an interesting time to be in blockchain, that's for sure. One of the things that I think is causing a lot of interest right now and a renewed interest in certain projects is the fact that you have all of a sudden people who were, talking FUD, talking all kinds of negative stuff about the blockchain and the ecosystem and cryptocurrencies of this kind or that. People who were saying Bitcoin is dead or Ethereum is dead, or any kind of fear or nonsense that you could throw at it, or XRP is evil, or this or the other, whatever it is, people were just throwing nonsense around. And now we're seeing all of a sudden the very quick turnaround. Like last week, we saw all these stories about how climate change was getting worse because of Bitcoin, which is just utter nonsense. When you consider how much energy it takes to print fiat money and deliver it and secure it and everything else you need to do, and have banks to have it in huge vaults, and those vaults take massive machines to make, and iron and everything else. It's just utter nonsense. All that stuff hit at once like a big wave, and then you saw a little dip in the price. And although institutional investors don't buy at the exchange rate prices when they buy OTC, well, when the price is even a little lower, they might get more of a discount. So we know also that OTC sales have been through the roof. There have been hundreds of millions of dollars moving around just in the last few weeks, just in 5 wallets that have been tracked. You can see that on the Blockchain Explorer. There's all kinds of things happening behind the scene where investors are putting in more money into this ecosystem, and they're getting ready their marketing systems, and they're getting ready to test those marketing systems, even if it's not at full-blown scale, at least a test level. Just like the tech was first tested at a test level and is now being implemented a lot behind the scenes, and a lot, even the announcements, which should be enormous, are not causing the markets to move yet because the switches haven't been flipped yet. Let's just put it that way. Yes, if you read the trades, if you read the stuff that's related to blockchain all the time, you'll see it. But if you don't have more than a passing interest in this stuff, you easily might not notice this kind of story. So you have all these different systems in place to market crypto, to market blockchain. As soon as institutions and the leading investors have decided, that's it, we're ready, let's go. And we're still seeing hold patterns on the market itself, because the market hasn't seen an indication that it's go time. But once that happens, what's going to happen obviously is there's a mass amount of institutional investment in this stuff, and at some point they're going to need to have some action, buying and selling. They bought a lot already, right? And they need to make money on this stuff, so they also need to sell at some point. But of course, they want to sell at a premium. So once they've sold out, what's available for them to sell out, by OTCs, stuff like that. Once they start selling to the market, that's going to be on the exchanges. That will affect the prices, and they're going to obviously have to, pump it up. That's not, yeah. Yes, this isn't financial advice. Yes, this is for entertainment and research purposes only. Do not take any of this as financial advice. I'm just a guy on YouTube talking about blockchain and crypto, right? But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that when the smart money is quietly buying up everything, of what is essentially the future of money and smart contracts, and tokenizing things, all kinds of different things. it's not happening by mistake. And we're seeing right now many different coins are, doing deals behind the scenes. Bitcoin development is happening. I don't care what the politics are. I'm blockchain agnostic essentially. Whatever works best, great. I'm for it. Anything that can help improve the human experience, I'm for it. So blockchains all over the place, side chains of Bitcoin, forks of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the forks of Ethereum and ERC20 builds all over the place. The next version of Ethereum that's coming out, all those things are great for the ecosystem, and all these amazing announcements are happening, and you're getting regulations in places like Hong Kong where they're saying, it's a legitimate asset, and you're getting things in China where even China is saying it's legal to have as an asset. They have they still have some regulations against it, but essentially it's legal to have crypto in China, which kind of was obvious that was eventually going to happen. But the fact that it happened is huge, and the fact that the markets haven't moved on that is just very telling about the state of how the institutional money really does control a huge chunk of this currency right now. Otherwise, the markets would probably be going pretty wild about this stuff if that's all it took. But it doesn't. It requires a lot of marketing. It requires a lot of sales. It requires a lot of buzz. It requires a lot of carefully and well-timed placed news stories, like we saw with the climate change FUD, and like we've seen with many other stories that have come up along the last 10 years of Bitcoin. By the way, happy belated birthday, Bitcoin. 10 years and 2 days ago, you were born into the world as a white paper, and yes, and less than a month later, I was into mining. But such are the times. Here we are 10 years later, and Bitcoin and crypto has definitely made an impact, but it's nothing like I think what is going to be in the next 10 years. So on that note, I'm going to keep this relatively short, but look at the marketing strategies that are happening. Look at the storylines that are happening. Look at the arcs that are happening with the marketing. First the bankers say they're against it, and they're for it, and they're against it, and they're for it, and they're against it. Meanwhile, they're buying it all over the place. And now the CEOs are like reluctantly saying, okay, we'll deal with it. It's a bunch of nonsense, but we'll deal with it. And you're just seeing all these kinds of storylines like that are happening that are essentially setting up crypto to be an enormous story when the switch is decided to be flipped. When that happens, nobody knows. Could it be this year? Who knows? Could be next year? Who knows? Could the market go down further? Yeah, quite probably. If they want to buy it at even more discount rated prices, if there's anything left that they want to scoop up before they go, depending on how much time they decide they have left before they do this. But this is not, I'm not saying conspiracy or anything like that. This is just the market, and the market moves at certain speeds. This is business, this is the normal course of business that happens in practically every industry. There's competition, so people want to get there first, right, or second. But those things tend to happen in similar speeds a lot of the time, for whatever reason. Maybe, anyway, whatever the reasons are, it does happen a lot that way. It looks like it's going to happen this way in crypto as well as it has in other industries, like the development of operating systems or computer hardware or whatever, iPhones, becoming, or MP3 players and iPods and all that stuff came out within a year or two, et cetera, right? iPad, and then Kindle Fire within a couple of years of that, and Android tablets and all that stuff. So blockchain is no different in that sense. I love watching this marketing space. I think it's very interesting. By the way, we have some interesting interviews also coming up on upcoming episodes. If you found this interesting at all, engage, subscribe, follow, comment, do whatever. Be engaged, because that's what helps me know what to do. Thanks again, and until next time, take care.
By YashaHarari.com.